everybody, Titanium Solid back with another video. Finally. It hasn't been that long, but hey, you know, it almost feels like a while since I kind of post things on and off with everything going on. But today we are doing a Marvel Rivals wish list for 2026. These are just characters that I personally, basically, okay, here's how it works. It might be a little bit complicated. I'm basically doing, because we already know Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone are coming to the game in January and February. So we still have 10 other characters. So basically, this is kind of a mixture of who I want this year and some like ball knowledge picks. I feel like people that I really haven't heard talked about much, but also people that I predict will be in the game this year. So it's kind of a mixture of both. And I can even explain that as I go through the video, who I think actually will come this year out of these picks, and who's more so like a personal want for me, or I just think they would be cool in the game, or they're just people that I haven't really heard talked about. But the list is already right here. You do see it. I'm of course giving you guys the list right here. I'm kind of just elaborating through it. Obviously, in post, I'm going to be adding some footage of each character too. I also bundled them together and basically season theming is basically how I did it. Like all the characters are kind of in duos together in ways that I thought they could make for cool seasons bundled together. Without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. So first off, we're starting with Colossus and Jubilee, and I feel like these characters are not at all controversial. You know, I think plenty of people talked about both of these. Jubilee a little less so, but Colossus is like, come on, dude, that's like one of the people that everyone thinks about when we think about vanguards that can be added to this game. Colossus feels like a no-brainer, so I'll start with him first. Of course, I have Colossus here labeled as a vanguard. I think there's obviously no other way that Colossus would work. It'd be weird if he's a duelist, it'd be weird if he's a support. He's literally one of the biggest Marvel characters. Like, he's actually like very, very tall. And he's made of steel. So, just makes the most sense. I tried to not make my list fully mutants, guys, but I do have a lot of mutants in here. I am X-Men biased for one, but for two, I think a lot of the mutants lend themselves the best to the game. So, like, as far as like kits and stuff, I feel like a lot of them have the more unique like play styles that they can offer. But with Jubilee, I will say, yeah, I didn't want to elaborate on Colossus much. I feel like Colossus has been talked about enough to where my only thing with Colossus that I will say before I move on to Jubilee is I hope he's not too basic. That is my thing, but I don't think he will be. A lot of people think that he's just going to be another thing, like a steel version of the thing. If you think that, you don't know ball, basically, is what I'm trying to say. He could be a lot cooler than the thing, in my opinion. And you can kind of almost make him like a grappler, kinda. But we'll see. I'm sure they'll cope with Colossus. That is one. Once again, I will state if these characters are kind of more predictions or if they're just characters I want. Colossus is one that I think we will get next year, like almost 100%. Then we go to Jubilee, and Jubilee I have labeled as strategist or duelist. I think she could kind of work in both. You could make the fireworks powers work in a way of being a strategist somehow. It's hard to explain. With like some of the characters, like Jubilee kind of reminds me of like Luna Snow, sorta. I don't know why, but I could see her kind of having that same kind of vibe as a strategist, where she is a strategist and she heals and stuff, but she can also, you know, she's got the fireworks. She can do a lot of damage. She'd be kind of like Luna, but instead of having ice and stuff and having like a hit scan, I think we're looking at more of almost like a Phoenix level shot where you kind of get like, you get your explosions and stuff too, which would be kind of crazy on a support. But game, it's already in the game, and he's like totally able to. So I think we'll be okay. But obviously, she could easily work as a duelist. The fireworks lend themselves to her being more of like an explosives character, kinda. Maybe an explosives, kind of a blinding character. You could kind of like blind people with fireworks and stuff too. You could kind of go that route. You could do a lot with her. Imagine her ult is just like fireworks everywhere. Like she just is like boosh, and you know, fireworks would just go everywhere. That would be insane. Like, I mean, there's already so much visual clutter in a hero shooter, that might be terrifying. I can't even lie. But as concerning their theme with them together, some people are going to be thrown off by this. I did not do the X Mansion season with Professor X. I gave it to Colossus and Jubilee instead. And the reason I'm doing that is because in the lore, Professor X could be missing. And I'm pretty sure, I might get flamed for this, I'm pretty sure Professor X is currently missing in the Rivals lore. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. That being said, I thought it'd be cool if Sentinels, you know, it's like a classic X-Men story, you know what I mean? And we already have Gambit and Rogue and Wolverine and Storm and all those characters. Like, you could have, which obviously we have Krakoa and stuff too, but I don't think they're gonna miss out on making the X Mansion a map. I just completely doubt that they would miss out on making that a map. So I have Colossus and Jubilee, and I titled the season The Battle for the X Mansion. Basically, like, just, you know, Sentinels coming around, taking over and stuff, which could also play into future PvE modes, just saying. But it's up to the X-Men that are remaining while Professor X is gone to defend the X Mansion and try to save it from its destruction. And two of the key people that are still staying at the X Mansion, or could be there to help defend the X Mansion because it was their home at one point, are Colossus and Jubilee. I think that's a decent. Obviously, I'm not a complete like story writer. I'm sure whoever writes the stories and stuff for Rivals could do a lot better than me, but that's kind of the rough gist of why I put those two together. I think they'd be good to like together in a season, especially with the X Mansion map. I think that would be a really cool X-Men themed season. The next season, I titled this one Cosmic Justice, and you could name it something better. I'm not like I said, I'm not the aficionado when it comes to their marketing and writing and stuff, but I came up with the title Cosmic Justice, and the two characters that I have for this are none other than Nova, which could be Richard Rider or Sam. I don't really care. Either way, it's Nova. Nova would be really cool either way. I just used a picture of Richard Rider. You guys can debate in the comments whether it should be Richard or Sam. I don't really care. I just like Nova in general, and I think Nova's sick. But then there's also Photon, Monica Rambeau. And I would say, honestly, both of these characters, guys, are not ones that I am predicting to happen this year. These are more so two personal wants of mine, because I think they're really cool characters. I think they could work in a season together when you're basing it on this cosmic kind of something's gone wrong in space, and then you kind of like combine these two together, like for one reason or another, Richard Rider or Sam or whatever, like Nova and Photon have to work together to bring peace back on a cosmic scale or something like that. Like, you know, once again, not the biggest, like, you know, you could obviously go much more in depth with how the story could go, but I think these two characters can be cool together in a season. And as far as roles, I put Nova as a duelist or a strategist. I really think With him and Jubilee, I'm kind of torn on whether I think they could be either strategists or duelists. I think you can make good cases for both. We already have characters like Ultron and like Gambit, who are kind of characters where it was like, what? They're a strategist? So as far as like just trying to put a character in a box like Nova or Jubilee and just saying, oh yeah, these guys have to be duelists, I don't think we really go by those rules anymore. I don't think we ever really did. But that's one thing. I think you can make leeway for Nova or Jubilee being strategy duels. Anyway, Nova would be just really, really cool. As far as like a duelist, you can make him a very cool, like, I think Nova would probably be another flyer, which I'm sure people would not be that excited for. You could make him, I think you can make him a good mixture of melee, like melee flyer, and like at the same time still having like cosmic blasts and things of that sort. And just let him aura farm. He just looks super tough. You just gotta let him aura farm. But then Photon now, I have decided I think Photon would be a really, really cool strategist. Really go far with like the light abilities. I think the light abilities would be able to like really bring out a different support for rivals. Because I mean, there is Dagger. I mean, Dagger has technically the light force abilities, but Photon's very different. As far as like, it's like harsh light and like huge light rays and like actual like photon rays and stuff, versus just being like just these little light daggers you're throwing around, or like a little light blanket thing that Dagger throws. And you know, just another like, I don't know, Photon I think just deserves more love, man. I think she deserves more love. She's a really dope character. She has a really cool design. Like even this PNG that I got right here is really, really sick. And I think that she would bring a lot to the game. I think she could be also a support where maybe you kind of play into a blinding aspect. She could also have like some sort of blind or something like that. And I think her like ult would be more like more of a damaging support ult as well. It's not going to be like, I don't think she gets another like circle of heals ult. I think it would be more of like like you get to infuse your team with like photon rays or something that are all like, if you're in like a circle of like her freaking, she's like basically a big ball of brightness basically around her, and her team can like be in it and do more damage, something like that. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, that's the Cosmic Justice season, guys. Alright guys, now this season, me and my brother have talked about this one, just talking amongst ourselves. I think this season would be really cool, and it's one of the seasons that I have thought about the most, is Marrow and Lizard. Two characters that I really don't think are being talked about right now at all when it comes to like who should be added to Rivals. But two characters I think would be really cool, and two characters I think really would add something to the game, and just a season in general that I think would be really cool and visually different from any of the previous seasons we've had. And I just titled this one Sewer Slam. I think you could literally do a season that is just fully focused on the underground of Marvel, the sewers. You got the sewers. We've even talked about, me and my brother had this really cool storyline kind of like Lizard. Lizard basically goes and is in the sewers, you know, like typical Lizard moment. He's in the sewers, and he's like basically come to terms with the fact that he is permanently the Lizard, and is fighting to become king of the underground and becoming king of the sewers and stuff. But of course, Marrow and the Morlocks ain't gonna stand for that. They're not gonna let that just happen. So Marrow and the Morlocks cause an uprising against Lizard, and then they set out to defeat the Lizard before he can truly try to take his reign over the sewers and turn everyone else in there into lizards. I mean, hear me out. Is that not absolute cinema? Is that not cinema? You know, let me and my brother on the Rivals dev team. Come on, come on. This season will be sick. And you know, you get like a sewer map, everything. You get to see like where the Morlocks stay in the world of Rivals. You know, Spider-Man villain, which is something that people have been asking for a lot. I could have done like Doc Ock, you know, or Sandman or something like that, and obviously I want those characters too. But that's what I'm saying. I also, with this list, was trying to get characters that are not quite as recognized, like characters that are not quite as, because I could have just made my list like Cyclops, Kingpin, Professor X, Colossus, Doc Ock, Green Goblin. You know, I could have just chosen every single character that like everyone talks about. You know what I mean? So I kind of went with something that's a little more unique, something that's a little more diverse. I really like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about a sewer season. I think it would be freaking sick. As far as roles, I think Marrow is a duelist. I tried to think that she might be a strategist, and maybe you could go that route. But I really, personally, I think Marrow is a duelist. I don't really see her as much else. She's a Morlock. She's got the freaking, like, bones, you know, that she can, like, stab you with. And you can make her, like, kind of a poison character. Something like that, too. Like, you could really go some crazy routes with her being a duelist. And then Lizard, of course, would be a Vanguard. I don't think he's going to be quite as, like, claws heavy as some people think he would be. I actually think you could give him like a gas gun or something like a gas gun, maybe some sort of gun with like a green beam or something like that. I think that would be a cooler route to go. We already have a lot of melee tanks in Rivals, especially if we're adding Colossus too. We're gonna have a lot of melee tanks. I think we need more tanks that can get a little more range, can give a little more utility. Like, I think we need to go that route with some more tanks. Maybe another shield. Maybe he gets almost like a Winston-esque, like, bubble shield or something like that. Or some sort of mini barrier similar to, like, Emma's, maybe. Something of that sort. I could see him having something like that because he is Dr. Kirk Connors. He's very smart. You could, you know, there's a lot you could do with Lizard. I hate that Lizard is so slept on because I think he could be such a cool tank. But yeah, that's it for the Sewer Slam season, guys. Let's go ahead and move straight on to Nightcrawler and Professor X. And this one, let me cook, chat. Let me cook. I named this one the Astral Plane Rescue. Look, man, I grew up playing X-Men Legends on the GameCube. Dude, I'm telling you right now, one of the coolest places that I always thought was like so sick in the Marvel Universe is the Astral Plane. And basically, I think, if I remember correctly, what happened in the X-Men Legends universe is Professor X was temporarily lost in the Astral Plane. So people like Jean Grey and Emma Frost and people like that had to go into the Astral Plane to rescue Charles. So hear me out. This is how we could also get Nightcrawler, because Nightcrawler just has this more dark vibe, you know. He's already kind of impish with his design, like that's kind of how he looks. The Astral Plane is the same way. It's very dark. There's all sorts of beasts and stuff lurking, but a very like purple and black map, a very like this astral, you know, crazy looking map that I think that map would be phenomenal, and Rivals would literally make it look so visually stunning. Man, it would be so cool. I think it'd be one of the coolest maps in the game. But you could basically write it into the plot that Nightcrawler is the one who ends up And you could still have Jean. We have Jean Grey and Emma Frost in the game. You could still have them being like, you know, quite a few of the X-Men be a part of this too, where they have to save Charles from the astral plane. But then you could also use it as when they do save him, so he would be the mid-season hero. Now you would start Nightcrawler and then do Professor X in the later part of the season. So where you save Professor X and then he's playable. So it's a win-win. You get a really cool, for one, you get two of the most requested characters for Rivals in Nightcrawler and Professor X, so huge season on that part. Then you get the Astral Plane, which is extremely, like, would be a visually stunning map and a very visually distinct map. You have the Astral Planes, like beasts and stuff in the background too, would be kind of cool. And yeah, dude, I just think this season, man, would be incredible, and it would be one of my favorite seasons of all time. I ain't gonna lie, because two incredible characters in Nightcrawler and Professor X. Beautiful map. You could have a lot of cool, like, astral themed skins. Just darker X-Men storyline skins, things of that sort. As far as roles, I said Nightcrawler should be duelist. Some people have tried to argue he should be a strategist. I just disagree. He teleports around. He has two freaking, like, rapier swords. Like, come on, man. I feel like Nightcrawler's an obvious duelist. But, I mean, they could make him a strategist. They could. I'm not saying they couldn't. But I would rather him be a duelist. And then also, of course, to balance that out, Professor X, I think, should be a strategist. I think he would make a great strategist, supporting his X-Men, especially if you're playing a team of X-Men. It would be so cool to have, like, Charles healing and providing his X-Men with buffs and stuff like that, and you could literally give him the line. You could give him the line in the game, man. To me, my X-Men. You know, you could literally... It'd be so awesome, man. Charles is... We need him. We need him, bro. That's one of those characters... I think we need him. Speaking of needing characters, now we will go to the final season that I made here. And this might be... I don't know. Maybe this is a little confusing to some people. But... maybe it's not. This season, of course, you'll never guess the name. I just, of course, named it, but in all caps, Doomsday. And as far as, I wasn't really, I didn't really put these characters, like, in a row, like, depending on timing necessarily, besides this last one. I do think this Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom season would be the last season, so season 11 of this year. And I think that there's I think there's almost no chance that we don't get Doctor Doom at the end of this year. Think about it. There's Doomsday, right? Doomsday's releasing. Literally going to be one of the biggest Marvel movie events ever, so there's no way they're not going to capitalize on that. Doctor Doom is one of the biggest villains in Marvel history, but also he's like a big key player in the plot of Marvel Rivals. They also, I'm sure that Guang Guang and everyone at NetEase are aware that everyone wants Doctor Doom. And I mean, we all want Doctor Doom. So don't play. Alright? Don't play. We all want Victor Von Doom. He's one of the coolest characters of all time. Incredible amounts of aura. I mean, come on, dude. It's Doctor Doom. But also, the Game Awards would be around the same time. And if they're wanting to do another big Game Awards trailer, except this time it would be a trailer that is actually helping release the season versus like teasing a season that's the year after. Unless they do it the year after, but I doubt they would. I mean, dude, Deadpool, obviously, huge. Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone was a huge trailer for Game Awards, because Deadpool literally is just, has always been one of the most wanted characters for this game, ever since it was even, this game was ever, like, leaked in the first place, before we even knew anyone who was playable. But Doctor Doom is that same, he's the same as Deadpool, in my opinion. I think he's one of those characters that just will blow this game up. Like, when Doctor Doom gets out of this game, people will be like, holy crap, Doctor Doom's in the game. Like, we'll immediately jump on Rivals just to try out Doctor Doom. But the same can be said with the guy that I would make his adversary in this season. So I kind of had a mixture of, you know, seasons where the characters that are being added together team up, but then I have like Marrow and Lizard, and then this with Silver Surfer and Doom, where it's more of a season where they clash, because there have been mixtures of both. Obviously there's been season 1 with Fantastic Four, which were obviously characters working together because they're Fantastic Four. Blade and Phoenix worked together to defeat Null. But then obviously Emma and Ultron were clashing heads. Ultron was trying to ruin the Hellfire Gala. And then you have season 4, Daredevil and Angelo were at odds. And then season 5, of course, Rogue and Gambit. The greatest couple ever. In love, working together. And then we have season 6 even with Deadpool and Elsa, where they're kind of, well, rivals. But this would be another one of those seasons where obviously they are adversaries. Nor and Rad could be a thing where Doom is truly getting to the end of his plans of Doomsday, and he's about to unleash his wrath upon the Marvel Rivals universe. And the heroes are looking for any sort of cosmic hope, any sort of hero who can help them stand and fight again, and like someone who truly can just aura farm against Doctor Doom, right? Who better than Norrin Rad Silver Surfer? Who better? I mean, he's that guy. He is. Silver Surfer is that guy. And this is a character, once again, I think like Doctor Doom, I think this season would be nuclear. Like, it would actually go nuclear, I think. Because Doctor Doom is a huge requested character. Huge. But so is Silver Surfer. So you're just getting these two, like, just freaking juggernaut. Well, say that again. Sorry, Juggernaut, you're not in this list. Maybe next time. But two, like, actual just titans of Marvel history, and characters that have always been beloved ever since they were introduced. So, I mean, I think this season is a slam dunk, home run, whatever you want to call it. It's gonna go nuclear. Like, it's just a big season. This would be a huge season. Like, huge. As far as roles, I actually think Silver Surfer will be a strategist, and even one of his abilities that he is granted by Galactus is the power of cosmic healing. You could go that route. I think he'd be a flyer healer, like kind of like Ultron, but I think he'd be much better at healing, for one. And he also would be fast, which would be kind of terrifying, because he's Silver Surfer, so he's got to be pretty fast. Which would be terrifying. But hey, I ain't here to make the balance. I just want Silver Surfer in the game. And same goes for Doctor Doom. The Doctor Doom is not going to be a strategist. I have him labeled as a Vanguard, especially if you know what he looks like in the Rivals. Like in Rivals, he is a big boy. So there's no way that he ain't going to be a Vanguard when he gets added. But extremely exciting character. Everyone wants Doctor Doom. Like, he would be awesome. I think this season would be amazing. But yeah, name that season Doomsday. But with that, guys, I think that just about does it. That is going to wrap up my list for 2026 characters that I would love to see in Marvel Rivals of this year. after Deadpool and Elsa, of course, the 10 remaining, if you will, along with some season themings. I just hope this video really gets you guys' brains going. I hope this makes you think about maybe some characters you didn't think about, like Lizard and Marrow and Photon, like characters like that. And really just realize more, you know, with this video that, look man, Rivals is still going great. We're about to have a great year. There's about to be some insane heroes added, I'm sure. Let's just see if I go 10 for 10, guys. And with that being said, I need you guys to stay solid, take care of yourselves, and have a great one.